Hello, Pickerington, and welcome to the first session of Innovation Day. Do you like adventure? Do you like taking hikes? If so, you are in the right session. This session is full of demonstration and adventure and lots of creating. So thank you for joining us today. We're going to help get your students on the best path for their learning. My name is Ashley Holcomb, and I am a middle school counselor at Harmon Middle School. I am also here with Stephanie Howell and Megan Fernie. Feel free
Hi,
to say
everyone.
hello, ladies.
Hi, guys.
So during today, you can access the slides in the chat. You should see the link in there. So look for that if you haven't found it yet. Again, we can post it again if you need it, but you will have access to our slide deck. So again, thanks again for joining. You can also tweet right now if you want to. You will notice a QR code on our slides today. And if you're in other sessions, we included QR codes as well. The QR code, you can snap a picture with your phone on your camera, or you can just click it. And what's nice is that it takes you directly to Twitter. So if you're taking the course for credit today, or if you just love social media, you can just click on the QR code, and we have a tweet already started for you. So feel free to use it as it is, or make it your own by adding an image or a GIF. So look for those little treasures, those QR codes on slides to help you be active on social media or to help you get credit for that course you might be taking. So our session today is called Let's Make Roadmaps. These are going to be personalized learning paths for your students. We are actually going to get started with a group activity. So we love adventure. So we want you to be involved in this adventure with us. We will share the link if you need it in the chat, but it's also in the slide deck to get to this slide, the adventure slide. So we want you to go on an adventure with us. Oh, you'll also see a QR code if you want to be active on social media. So for this activity, we want you to think of where you would like to take a hike or where you would like to take a vacation. So if you didn't have to pay anything for that vacation, where would you like to travel? So we've included a world map for you with lots of places where you could travel. So think about where you would like to go. And then you can insert your Bitmoji to wherever you want to travel. If you're not sure how to add your Bitmoji, what's nice is that if you have the Bitmoji extension, which is in your extensions bar, you can just click on it and then search right away for a Bitmoji. So maybe you want to go to the beach. Maybe you want to go to Australia with Megan. Maybe you want to go to Italy, or maybe who knows where you want to go. But you can just search a Bitmoji, and then you can just drag and drop it right to your page, resize it because we have a lot of people joining us today. So resize it, put it wherever you want to go on the map, and then we can see where you would like to travel. Maybe you don't have the Bitmoji extension and you want to add it. It doesn't take that long. You can quickly add it by just searching in Google for the Bitmoji extension, and then you could add it now. Or if you want, you can just search a Bitmoji on your phone. Whatever. Oh, we're going to show you how to add the Bitmoji extension. So again, I'm just going to the web store, clicking on the Bitmoji extension. If you don't have this, I highly suggest you get it. I use Bitmojis all the time because I'm Bitmoji Extra, and I know that Stephanie and Megan are too. We use them a lot. They're a lot of fun just to spice up learning. So now's a good time to add it if you need it. You can also just add it from your phone if that's easier. So again, think about where you want to travel, add your Bitmoji, go on an adventure with us. So we'll give you some time to do that now.
Yeah, so it looks like, Ashley, you wanted to go to the beach?
I did. Yeah, the beach is my favorite place. So I just picked a place in Florida. I'll just take anywhere in Florida, really. I am going to the beach a few times this summer, but yes, the beach is my favorite. Stephanie, where did you pick?
Italy. So that is just one place
Aw.
I want to go. And I'm really jealous because Megan and a couple other Ridgeview teachers are going there this summer, right?
Yep, we definitely are. And my extension is I'm going to Greece for a week with two of my other really good teacher friends. I can't
Wow,
wait.
that sounds like so much fun.
So
Also, put Greece on there.
I know. And it was too close together. So I'm like, well, I'm going there, but I really would like to go to Australia.
Yeah, Australia is cool. I have been there.
I have not. It sounds really fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I've got a couple friends that live there, so it's a really fun one. But yes, keep adding to this, but we're going to go ahead and get started with the session and the material. So keep on adding to the map if you have not added your Bitmoji yet.
Yeah, so thank you for adding. We can't wait to see where people want to travel. And then you'll probably see this again on social media once people have added all their Bitmojis. All right, so the next stop on our adventure is our agenda. So on this slide, you see our roadmap. So this is what a roadmap can look like. This is one option for a roadmap. You can see all the things that we'll be accomplishing today. You can check out the layout, the direction of a roadmap, look at the colors. Look at the different ways to travel. So if you're in your slide deck, you'll notice there's a truck and there's a Jeep and there's a motorcycle, and they're kind of off to the side because those are just fun ways to travel on your roadmap. Maybe you've noticed the background. So I feel like the more you look at this, the more things you discover. And that's kind of the point of the roadmap too. All these things built in to engage students, but also help them be more independent with their learning. So with roadmaps, we're creating a more personalized learning path for students. Don't be overwhelmed. I know it can be a lot to take in. We're going to break up all the steps for you. We're going to go box by box to help you create your own roadmap. So as we learn together, you're going to notice the Jeep is moving on the roadmap to kind of keep track of our progress and our learning together. So pay attention to the movement of the Jeep. But we're ready to get started. So let's move to the first box, which is pick a topic.
All righty. So we decided the first thing you need to do is kind of decide what are you going to assess in either your unit or in the week, whatever you're working on. So that's what we need to first look at. What do you want to assess? Looking at your standards, what do your students need to know? And then if you have an idea, start jotting some things down and work from start to finish. Or if you are the backwards design person, working with your final assessment and then adding in activities, whatever works best for you. As you're designing, make sure you consider student needs and interests. Do you have kids that like to do things that are hands-on, creating things? Or are some kids just fine with, getting on the technology on their Chromebooks and doing work that way? Just kind of depends on what your kids like to do. And we like to throw in a wide variety of examples on how to create this roadmap.
Yeah, and so then the next step is we're going to start creating our roadmap. So for today, what do you want to create, Megan? What are you kind of thinking your students might need?
Well, I feel like one of the things that I think all students can work on is how to send an email. I actually just last night got an email in the subject line from a student with their entire email. And that drives me insane. Like, that's not where that goes. So what if we created a quick little roadmap as an example on how to write an email?
Yeah, and let us know in the chat, what topics are you thinking about for your roadmaps? Have you created a roadmap? Let us know what you've created a roadmap on. And if you want to, feel free to create the roadmap with us. And if you have questions, reach out to any of us after this session. We're happy to look it over, give feedback if you want that. We're also happy to co-create these with you. So if you need any help, let us know. But we are going to create one on email. So if you want to, you can have our roadmap after this and use that as a trial run with your students to see if you like it or don't like it. And then you can also kind of use us as a thought partner to decide, okay, what changes might need to be made through your next roadmap. But again, if you are the type of person, feel free to pause this. It is recorded and it's at the same link that you joined at. So you can create with us and pause the video as you might need as well. So I know there's different learners here. Some people can create as we're talking. Other people need to pause and continue to go. Yeah, so Sean says map activities. That would be a great roadmap. It kind of goes with the theme as well. Okay, so the first step is choosing your layout. You can kind of see here are some different examples of some roadmaps. So we've got Abby here. She's at Tollgate Middle School, and she has created a roadmap that looks pretty traditional. So this is the one that I typically use with students. You can see it has a clear starting point. All of the activities are built in, and then a clear finish. Then we have Miss Ramsdale, Kristen Ramsdale at Tollgate Middle, and she has done one on regions. And she has different activities as well. She created more teacher checkpoints so that students would have to turn in different assignments at these checkpoints to ensure that they have mastered the content at the other stops. So think about that as well. And then we have Miss Akila down here. And she has the coolest designed roadmaps that I think I've seen. Typically, I think start to finish should be at the top to the bottom, but Miss Akila goes, no, the start is going to be at the bottom, and I'm going to work my students up. Again, it doesn't matter what it looks like, and it's all about what you want and what you want to create. You can see there's bit emojis on some of these. There's some just design, and then there's some that go along with the unit. So this one has a map background. So again, you can get creative with this as you want. Right here, there are links that are hyperlinked. So what that means is if you click right here, it will ask you to make a copy of this Google slide. So I'm going to go ahead and hit make a copy. And you should be forced to copy as well. Now that I have my copy, I've got a blank sheet with just these boxes and start and finish. Again, if you don't want your start to be here, all you have to do is click and move it around, okay? That's all you have to do. Now, since we're just starting off, I'm going to keep it pretty general just so it's from start to finish like a normal roadmap. And this design was kind of inspired by Amanda Sandervalt, who's on Twitter. So if you don't follow Amanda and you are on Twitter, you will want to because her designs are amazing and she is a really good resource. But you can kind of see here, I can move these boxes around. I can Control D and I can duplicate boxes to add more boxes if I need to. So you've got a ton of different options here in order to create or add more boxes if you need to. But this is just a starting point. So if you are creating alongside us, go ahead and make your template. If you're just watching, this will be available later as well, right in this slide deck. Then you need to decide how many boxes. Okay, I sometimes don't decide this until I create this roadmap. So sometimes it's decided right at the beginning that, hey, I need 10, but sometimes I'll add more boxes as I'm thinking through what my students need. Every classroom is going to look different. Some classes might have more teacher check-ins just because that's what the students need. Other times it might be, oh, my students are really getting this roadmap. I can cut some of those teacher check-ins or some of those activities because they've already mastered that from the pre-test or looking at that pre-assessment. I need to add some additional skills for them to practice. So again, it's all based on what you know about your students. Then you can pick the direction. So again, a traditional start to finish, or you might wrap it around your whole slide. So again, it just kind of depends on what are you teaching, what do you want it to look like, and what do you want that look to really show with your students.
After you have kind of set up your layout, then you want to think about your background. And that is the image, obviously, in the background. And you'll notice that ours is pretty light. And we can kind of talk about how to make that for you. A couple ways. You can insert a background just on your Google slide, insert background and upload a picture or search a picture, and then you can edit the transparency. The higher on the transparency scale you go, the lighter the picture would be, and that makes it, you can see it, but it's not overwhelming and it's not too dark, so the kids can't figure out what's going on in the roadmap. One of our favorite things to use, and Ashley and Stephanie are amazing at Canva. I am still learning, but Canva is a great way to create your background. And we do have a session later on session 4 that we're talking, no, session 3 that we're talking about Canva if you want to join us. So that's a great resource to upload. And then Unsplash is one that I'm not real familiar with. Ashley, Stephanie, can you guys jump in? Because I have not used Unsplash yet.
Yeah, so Unsplash is just a bunch of photos that you are able to use. Everything is freely usable. So if you go in here and I type email, or I type maps like Sean was going to teach, or if I'm teaching energy, I could type roller coaster, I could type whatever I'm teaching. And here we go. Like you can kind of see here are just images of some emails. Another option that I might do is that Canva. So again, if you are not familiar with Canva, join us on our next session. We're going to go into more detail about how to use Canva, but I can go in here and type email. And now I can scroll down and I can kind of look for different email templates. So I could go, oh, I kind of like this, but I don't like that green. Don't worry, you can mostly likely change anything. I can go here and go, oh, I like this one, but I don't like the pink background. Don't worry about it. You are able to customize using Canva. However, on Unsplash, you kind of get what you get, but you can use the transparency to make it less bright if you want to try that trick. Right? So what are you guys thinking for design wise?
We're doing email from
Yeah.
this computer.
I liked the email that you saw that we had on Canva, like the it was like a little envelope or something. That was quite cute.
Okay, so let's
And we
go
can change the colors because that green is not really cute.
Yes. So that's the first thing is we like to make things pretty. So
Me
right
too.
here, we're going to grab this email. Right? And what we're going to do is we are going to get how to grow your email list because our students don't need to know that right now. I'm sure that's really important to them though. And then we're going to get rid of this and I can just have my image here. Okay. This extension up here is called the eyedropper extension. We're probably going to talk about this more in detail soon, but I don't want this green color, so I'm going to go ahead and change it. Now, I love the Google, I want it to look like the Gmail icon, kind of like that red color.
Yep.
So if I use this extension right here, I can grab that exact color that Google uses. So right here's the hex code for it, and I can copy that, and then I can go back into Canva, click that green color, right there's that green color, and I can change it to that red color. And then I need to change this one. And then also I don't really want that blue color. I think I want more of a black. And then right here, I can change that to the red color as well.
I
So
love
see
that.
how-
I like how you tied in the red from Google.
For sure.
Yeah, so easy to just kind of customize. Now, I also want to be able to kind of move things around. So I'm going to grab this color because I do like that tan color. What do you guys think?
The cream. Yeah, I like that.
Or I guess it's floral white is the correct name for it. And I'm going to go up here to my blank template and I'm going to add it as the background. So I'm going to add that custom background. So again, I just right clicked, change background, and then I did my custom color. You can add an image here, but I'm not going to for that. I'm going to do something else in a moment. I also like to collaborate. So I'm going to add Megan and Ashley because I don't want to do all this work by myself. And I know a lot of you have different teaching partners or different content partners, and collaborate with them. Make the work smarter, not so much harder. There's 3 of us, so we can cut this. So I only have to do 3 boxes. Megan might have to do 4, and then Ashley might do 3, and I might do the last one. Okay, so kind of work together and make this kind of your own. So again, use that share button. Use it so you guys can collaborate together. And then you can customize for your classroom after you make a copy again, and then you can say, okay, this one's for my class. All right, now that I've got my background color, that tan color, I'm going to go back to Canva. And now I just want to download this envelope. So I'm going to click the download button up here in Canva. And again, if you need more help in Canva, there is another session. And we're going to hit transparent background. The reason I'm going to do that is because then it's going to have like an invisible color right behind where it's white. So now I'm going to go back to my blank copy. And I'm going to go into the slide edit theme. When I go into edit theme, I'm going to put this on here. I'm going to shrink it just a little bit. This is like your secret sauce for everything that you cannot add hyperlinks in this area because it won't work.
Mhm.
But now my kids can't move this cute little graphic that I have. So again, in slides, edit theme, I can move it around, but my kids cannot move it on the actual slide. I use this trick for a lot of things because kids can move everything. All right, so we've got our kind of look. Okay, so it's pretty simple right now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get rid of some of our tabs because we're going to get confused. And we're on to fonts.
Yay. All right. Well, I like adding fonts, and I know sometimes it's hard to figure out which fonts to use. So you'll notice with the graphic, there are some font pairings. And what's nice about these pairings is that it shows you some of the fonts that go well together. And so, for example, like the Delius can pair really well with the Gothic font. So you can kind of play around with those fonts, see if you like them. If you're searching for these fonts on Google and you can't find them, sometimes you have to add them. You actually have access to a lot of Google fonts, but they're not preloaded for you. You have to add the ones that you want, and you add them by going up to where your fonts are and searching the first option, clicking on More Fonts. So once you click on More Fonts, you have access to all these free fonts in Google. You can click on all the ones that you want. You can even search by categories. So sometimes I search like scripts or like handwriting or the popular fonts. And so I see the suggested ones and I'm like, oh, check, 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 check. I want all of those. If you add a font and you don't like it, you can go back and uncheck it. That way it won't pop up in your list of fonts. But I love playing around with the fonts and adding more. You have access to a lot. So check out this huge area for extra fonts and see if you like any of these. So I know we're at the step where we're going to add fonts. We have some already preloaded for the start and the finish. And so when we click on there, I know we're using the Roboto font. What I like about that is that it's big and bold and easy to read. So you also want to think about what's accessible. We admit it, we love cute, pretty stuff, but sometimes the cute, curly, scripty fonts are really hard for students to read. So just keep that in mind. That goes more to accessibility, which we will talk about later. But keep that in mind when you're adding fonts. Students or staff need to be able to read them. So now's a good time if you're creating your own roadmap to start adding the fonts that you want to use. You also want to be consistent with what you're adding. So for example, with the start and the finish, the font is the same. And so I like to have the font consistency. You don't have to have that, but it does make your roadmap look more tied together. So just kind of give that some consideration too. So the fonts that you're using, try to use the same ones for different areas on your roadmap. Now, we don't have to use the same font. There's a lot of options, and sometimes I like to use more than one. So when we are adding fonts in the actual boxes, we can think about what is another font that would be easy to read, something that stands out, something that pairs well with the other fonts. So we can just add a text box. Because you have two ways to add it. We have the shapes already, and you can actually just click in the middle of that shape to add your font. Or if you like to work with text boxes, all you have to do is just go to insert and then text box. So you can add fonts two different ways, whatever your preference is. I like things to be in the middle, so sometimes I just add it right in the shape. That way it's in there for me. But if you like to move more with text boxes, do what's in your area of comfort. So when you're adding fonts, I noticed that when I click in the box, Arial is the default because that's what's set in the overall theme of the slide. Now, if I don't want to use Arial because I want to use something else, I can just go up and change my font. And I have to keep that in mind. So in each box, I need to make sure whatever I change the first box to, if I want it to be consistent, I got to change it in all the other boxes. Or I could change it in my overall theme, but sometimes that gets tricky, and that's a more advanced thing. So girls, what font do we want to use in our boxes?
Well, we know your favorite is Poppins.
Right.
I do love Poppins.
I love Lexend.
Oh, Lexand's great. That's great for accessibility too.
Megan, what do you like?
I change mine up all the time. It's
Yeah.
whatever I think looks good.
Yeah, let us know in the chat what's your favorite font. But what do you, I think Poppins today.
Let's do
We
Poppins.
do Poppins. Okay.
So another tip that I've learned from Ashley, because this will save you time, is you want to highlight. So see how I'm like clicking down here? I click and I hold and I drag this little box and then I let go. It has everything that has text on it highlighted. And now I can go to my fonts and I can click Poppins and it's going to change everything for me. Then, because Ashley is a perfectionist, I can go here to align and I can center it right away. So every time I type, I don't have to recenter it. It's going to do that for me automatically. And I need to fix my T because this font is bigger than the one that we had before. And so now it's all on the same line. Okay, but now when I type, everything is in Poppins and it's centered. Okay, that will save you time in the long run. So again, that's like one of the first steps that you might want to consider. It's an extra thing, but it looks good and it will make your life a lot easier.
It does. And I noticed too, when we changed the font for start and finish, it made those a little bit bigger. So you can just go back and you can easily click on those text boxes and change them to fit a little bit better or realign them. Again, this is the kind of stuff that does bother me that I notice. It is a blessing and a curse. But yeah, so pay attention too if that happens to you. Okay, so we added fonts. Now, maybe you're the kind of person who likes to work with a little word art. And that is fun too, especially if you want to change the color of each letter like we have on our roadmap slide deck. So you can add a word art if you wanted to by going up to insert and then word art. So then once you have that, you have to just type in the box what you want the word to be. So if you want the whole word to look the same, like maybe you want it to be the same color, then you type the whole word. Otherwise, if you want each letter of the word to be different, you have to type each letter, like R, and then hit enter, and then O, and then enter. You have to have each letter be a separate word art.
All right, so I went ahead and did roadmap. So let's go ahead. And I have that red still in my favorites because iDropper saves that. So right here is that red color from Gmail. And I'm going to go to my paint bucket and I'm going to paste it in there. I'm going to go ahead and make this smaller. Word art resizes the text size itself. So you cannot go in and like say what number you want it to be unless you like go into format option, but then you're playing with the size and that kind of stuff. Also with this, like what Ashley was saying, I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Let's say I want to do R and then I want to do a different color for O. See how I'm doing that separately? And then I'm just going to change the color. And then I'm going to kind of realign everything to that. Okay. All right, so right here, we'll put the roadmap. We might make that black since it's closer to the red.
I think black is a good choice. It stands out with the red and the white.
Okay, so right there is our roadmap. And then I always like to put the topic on here too. What do you guys think about that?
I like that.
I think it helps the student know what is the focus for this roadmap? What am I trying to do? Okay. And I might make that red so it kind of pops. We'll see what it does. Okay. All right, how's that looking?
Good.
Like it.
Yep.
Okay. And if you're interested in learning more about fonts, there was a fun Twitter post. So again, if you click some of these images, it's going to take you to places so you can explore more if you need to. Okay, so next up is colors.
Yes. So I know we've already been choosing some of the colors. I like the slight cream and the red and the white and the black. But maybe you're trying to think about the kind of colors that you want to add to your roadmap. Did you know there's over 16 million colors to choose from, which definitely makes it hard to make decisions because you have so many options. So sometimes it's nice to explore color palettes, colors that go really well together. So you can click on the color palettes on this slide, and it will take you directly to a place where you can explore color palettes. So when you explore the color palettes, if you want to click on that, Stephanie, thank you. You can go to Canva to explore them. What I like about this is that if I have a color in mind that I want to use, like maybe I want to use like a blue or a yellow or whatever I want to use, I can explore specific palettes that have those colors by clicking on like color palette ideas. And I can explore related color palettes that have those ideas. So you can play around with this website. It is fun to look at specific color palettes, colors that go really well together. And then if you find a color palette that you like, you can just grab the exact colors and insert them into your presentation. I know Stephanie was showing how to do that earlier with the hex code. The hex code is the color identification code specific to that color. So that's what you would have to copy if you liked a specific color. So if you're looking through at the color palettes, you see something that you like, you click on the color palette. What's also fun about this is you see the image that inspired it, which is fun to explore too. It's so cute. But with this, if I wanted to grab the red, all I have to do is click and it copies that hex code. And then I can go back to my roadmap and I can add the red wherever I want it. So if I wanted it in the font or in the background, I just have to add that. And then there you go. Now I have the red, which is fun. So consider using color palettes. That's one way to add colors. Is just to grab those specific colors from the palette. You can also use the eyedropper extension if you like an exact color from something. So maybe you see an image that inspires you and you want to add this eyedropper extension. It's free. I use it every day. And it literally just allows me to click on an image or a GIF and to grab that color. It's so easy. But I like it for exact color matching because maybe I see something that inspired me and then I can grab the color by just clicking on it. You have to go back up to the eyedropper extension to get the saved color. And all you have to do is copy that hex code and then you can add it to your slide. So consider doing that to kind of spice up the colors. Colors add a lot to your presentation, but don't make it too much because sometimes too much is too stimulating.
All right, so make sure you get those extensions. Again, we're going to go with that red color. We're just going to take it right from Google. And determine activities. So Megan, how do you determine what goes on this roadmap?
So now that we've tried to make our roadmap look a little pretty so far, now you've got to think about, well, what do I want my students to do? And there are a wide range of things that you probably already do in your classroom that you can easily put into a roadmap so that it flows easily. Thinking about videos that students can watch, hopefully something kind of quick. Also, any audio that they can listen to. We are big fans of EduProtocols, looking at thin slides, looking at Iron Chef, looking at 8 parts. There's a wide range of EduProtocols that you can implement. Any projects that you want them to complete as they are working through. Also think about paper copies. Not everything has to be on the Chromebooks or online. There are times that I think our students really want to have the paper copies so they take a break from their Chromebooks and from technology. Maybe at the end, you want some sort of formative assessment. So my students were working on one for creating the Constitution, and we're completing different activities throughout. And then the last box at the finish is our Edulastic assessment, which we're taking Friday. So that's kind of how I set mine up. But I also built in teacher check-ins so that if my students, my lights just come on. If my students are behind or whatever, I can check in with them and be like, okay, this is where you should be. Once you finish these, now you can move on. think about anything that you can do to add to your roadmaps. And I think my students appreciated having kind of a path to follow. They knew what to do when, and that definitely really did help.
And I think too, what's nice about these roadmaps is collaborate with someone else. Because when I first make a roadmap, I'm always like, okay, what step did I miss?
Right.
Or do I have too many little steps that could be one step? And so just talking it out with somebody else can really help as well. Because I know sometimes I'm like, oh, I skipped 3 steps there and I didn't even realize it. But for someone that is new to like Gmail, where I've been using it, pretty well, and I think I'm an advanced user, someone that might not be familiar with it needs those 3 steps separated. So really thinking about that task and separating those as much as you can is a good thing.
Yep.
Also thinking about your topic, like Megan said, okay, we're going to be talking about Gmail. So it's probably going to be more videos than it is going to be like activities. So think about that as well. This is also great for a sub. You can create videos of yourself teaching, leave this for a sub. Your lesson plans are done. Your students will watch you do this and maybe make some emergency sub plans. That could maybe be your topic, like something that is like a struggle that your students struggle with when it comes to a standard. You can make that for a sub. You have instructional videos built in, and when you're out, you post that in Google Classroom, you're done. Okay, so if your students are familiar with this, it can be really great to kind of do. So scaffolding, okay? So when we're thinking about scaffolding, we want to think about when can I have teacher check-ins, and when can I have things be read aloud to my students using audio? I might use Mote. I might do screencasts, so using those videos. And how can I kind of make this break down for my students to understand? So again, thinking of every single learner. And there are times where I might give students a pretest. And once they take that pretest, I might say, okay, you don't need to do the first 4 boxes. You can move to the 3rd box and you're ready to go. Again, it's knowing your students, it's knowing what they have to kind of make those decisions. Now with this email one, I might just have my students do every single box so they get used to the procedure. So again, first one I do, I might not start that advanced. I might say, okay, everybody's doing every single step. Everybody's doing every teacher check-in. Everybody's doing all this. And I might have more teacher check-ins at the beginning. Once my students get the hang of the standard operating procedures, they get the understanding of how to kind of process a roadmap, then I will slowly take away those scaffolds. And I might be able to put in some additional activities to replace some of those teacher checks or to replace some of those videos that I might have needed before to explain a direction. Also reusing different things. We like EduProtocols. They're really great. They're fast. They're quick to use. And so if I do a thin slides on Monday, and then in 2 weeks I have a new roadmap, I might add it again. And my students already know that procedure. So reusing different activities can also be a really good tip when you are creating these roadmaps. So let's go ahead and let's go back to kind of our slide deck that we have and think about some of these activities. But first, before we kind of do that, let's think about the order. So Ashley, what do you suggest when it comes to ordering activities?
Well, with the order, I think about what students need, what's going to help them do this independently. So if I'm adding audio or video, where should I insert that? Should that go before or after the activity? Again, it depends on my students, what they need, what's going to help them complete this independently. I also want to think about where I'm adding those teacher check-ins. That's really important because it gives you the opportunity to check in with the student, and it gives the student the opportunity to showcase their learning. I know Stephanie and I have done lots of roadmaps this year with students, especially to help them with like Google Sites. And whenever they had a teacher check-in, they were so excited to show us what part they had just done on their Google site. So it keeps them accountable. So think about that when you're doing your order. Plus, it's fun to just check in with them and see how they're doing. But yeah, ordering the activities is really important because you don't want them to get lost on this roadmap. You want it to have a nice flow and them just to kind of be able to go through and ask questions they need during the check-in, but be able to do it independently.
Okay, so let's go ahead and Ashley, I think, or Megan, somebody, magically put our order on here. Okay,
It was
so
a team effort.
we looked at writing an email and we broke down the steps to do that. Okay, I know when you're an advanced user of email, you're like, oh, it's easy. You just hit compose and write an email. But for our students, we need to teach them how to write an email, or you're going to get the emails like Megan gets and I get. There are so many times that students put everything in the subject, and that is not the correct way to write an email. So the first thing that we have is an overview. We're going to give them an overview video of how the roadmap works. This is great if you're using this the first time. Again, second time you do a roadmap, your kids are familiar with it. You can probably get rid of this box. But the first time, I like to have that on video with an instruction. Frees me up so students can watch the video as many times as they need to. And I can conference with students one-on-one to help them. Yes, Ashley, we loved helping you with your Google Sites project. So let us know if you need any more roadmaps, because that was so much fun.
It was so fun.
The next step, they're going to open Gmail. Okay, I know that sounds silly, but if you're working with little kids, second grade, first grade, you might need to add that step in. Now, if you are middle school, you might be able to take that out. Also, right here, when I open Gmail, I want to make sure my students actually opened the correct application. So because of that, I'm going to add a teacher check in this box. Okay, see how I'm thinking, okay, where are my students going to screw up at? Where are they going to get off track on this adventure? And it's going to be right there opening an email, because I'm working, maybe with first graders on this. So if that's the case, add that in. If you know your students know how to open up Gmail, you might not need that teacher check there. And again, it's about knowing your students. Okay. Then I want to teach them how to create a signature. Now, some of you might think this comes last. The reason I'm putting this first is because I want them to go into settings and set it up so when they hit compose, it's automatically there. Now, if you want your kids to type the signature every single time, you can do that. But I want them to already kind of know how to do that activity before we get into it. That way it's already set up and it's ready to go. Then after that, they're going to hit compose and email. Okay, so that's the next step. So again, I'm thinking about every single step that I need to do to write this email. Once they do that, they need to know who they're emailing, because audience matters when it comes to emailing. Are they emailing a teacher? Are they emailing a friend? Are they emailing the superintendent? Okay, who are they trying to get their message across to? And then what is their email about? That is the subject, not their email. It is the subject. What is the topic? What is the main idea? And again, you're teaching those ELA skills here. What is that main idea? You're going to greet.
Hey, I'm going to jump in real quick, Stephanie. I think the first time somebody would do this, maybe a teacher check-in would be in between what is the email, the subject, and the greeting.
Mm-hmm.
Because that way they're not writing their entire email in the subject line.
Yeah, and so right here, all I have to do, because that's a great idea, Megan, is move these boxes. So I can just highlight all those boxes at once or individually. I've got a new space here. And so I can copy this one. I think Ashley's doing it for me. And I can paste it right here. Again, collaboration, work smarter. And just like that, Megan was able to remind me, hey, the kids are really going to struggle with that. Let's make sure that they do that. And so let's have a teacher check in.
Yep.
And then we're going to greet. And then after we say hello and kind of quick, how are you type of message, we're going to cover the body. And how do we write the body so it doesn't sound like we're blaming anyone? So it doesn't sound like we are trying to be rude. Yeah, because I've seen emails where it's like, you didn't help me with my homework, so that's why it's not done. And so how do you teach students how to write an appropriate email? Because that is really rude to come across that way, where they could have said, I tried these 3 things and I still need additional help. So teaching those can really save some frustration between that relationship. So just kind of teaching them, how do you write an email? And then talking about how you close the email. Also, just kind of telling them, if you need to, I will not respond right away. I have 24 hours to respond. And so if you need to, you can add a box in here for that. Again, you know your students best and what they might need. And then you're going to want them to proofread and maybe review a checklist. And then once they do that, they're going to send an email. So we have already created some of these videos because we didn't want to spend the whole time creating our videos, but I am going to create the first one. It's the overview video. So I'm just going to walk you through my process. I use Screencastify. So Screencastify is up here. It's an extension. And I do the whole desktop. That way, if I need to change tabs, I can. And it's quick. It's easy to use. I'm going to have my microphone on, and I can have my webcam on. It will just be a little picture of me. Since I'm in StreamYard, I'm going to keep it off because it will like interfere with the program. But what that means is I would just be on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and hit record. And then I'm going to do my screen one. Hey everyone, welcome to class today. Today we are going to be learning how to write an email. And what you're going to do is you are going to follow the steps on the roadmap. There are going to be video lessons embedded into this. Once you watch the video, I want you to complete the task. So for example, you're going to learn about how to open your Gmail. Once you do that, I want you to actually open your Gmail. So again, after you watch these videos, I want you to actually do the task that is at hand. The red is where I want you to meet me with the teacher check-in. I'm going to make sure that you have completed the task before. So make sure you have that up on your screen so I can quickly check it and see what needs to be reviewed. If you have any questions, I will be walking around the room. So just raise your hand if you do need any assistance. There will also be a can-do list of activities if you finish early, and we will talk about that at the last step. And then I hit stop sharing. Oh, wrong stop sharing. Let me get that back. But it's so easy to just create a quick Screencastify. That video took me, maybe a minute, 2. And right here's my Screencastify video. I title it Overview. And then I just do my topic so I don't get confused later in life. And then I save mine to YouTube. So I publish it straight to YouTube because it's easy to put into Edpuzzle. It's easy to put into as a link, whatever you need to do. So publish to YouTube right here. And then I pick my name. I can make it unlisted so only my students in the class can view. I can add a description if I want, and I just hit upload. Okay, it uploads. I'm done in like 5 minutes with one video. Okay, I copy this link. And then I'm able to go back to my roadmap right here, and I can paste it in, okay? So there is my link for my overview video, okay? So again, not too hard to create a video, and it shouldn't take you much time at all. So we're gonna go ahead and magically put in all the other links for these other videos while we're going over the next part of creating a roadmap. So the next part is then adding the resources. Okay, so again, this roadmap is more video directed because it's a skill that students might not know about. However, sometimes you might add resources from Google Classroom. Sometimes you might add Edpuzzle videos. Sometimes you might add Seesaw. Sometimes you might add a Google Slide link. Okay, the rule here, it's kind of hard to just generalize for every single teacher how you're going to do this. So because of that, some teachers, if you're elementary mostly, you have one Google Classroom or one Seesaw class. You can copy those direct links into your roadmap because you only have one class. Now, the middle school teachers and up, you have 3 or more classes. So because of that, what I usually do is I copy the link or I put a picture of Google Classroom, and I just tell my kids, hey, that's in Google Classroom. And so when I'm organizing this information in Google Classroom, I put roadmap activity and I just name it the same name that I put on the actual roadmap. So right here, I write overview, and then I would put the activity in that post, and it's just organized in order as the roadmap is. And my kids can just click turn in as they finish those activities. So again, it's really easy for them to complete these activities because it's all organized. And if you need more help on setting it up for your own classroom, I'm more than happy to help. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of show you real quick what a Google Classroom might look like, because I think Google Classroom is your route to go. I've seen teachers create just classrooms for certain roadmaps. So right here is a roadmap just for a Google Classroom because it's a pretty intense roadmap. It's about writing for 3rd grade. So if you are interested in this, let me know. I'm happy to share it. Or if you want to adapt it for your grade level, happy to work with you. So here's the stream. Nothing's there. It's pretty clear. Classwork, though, you can see here. Here are like, these don't really have a topic. So here is the roadmap for the writing piece. Okay. Again, our Gmail one has a lot of video instruction, where this activity here, I put the emoji for the video. So my students knew, hey, this is a video. This is a video. This is practice. Students are actually going to go to this Google slide and practice this activity. Here is a teacher check-in. Here they're going to do something in Edulastic. I'm going to add the link once I have it for that class. Here's another teacher check. Here's another video. Here is a Google slide. Here's another teacher check. I try to color code the different activities to help certain students, because that really does help some of our students' executive functioning skills. But if I go back to the Google Classroom, here is prior to writing, okay? They've got 2 tasks. Their video instructions, everything is right here. Introduction, everything again, right here. Understanding, restating, and then it is in the Google Classroom, and students can have their Google Slides, make a copy for every single student, okay? See how it is aligned with both the Google Classroom and the roadmap? It's easy for students to quickly see, oh, here's my Edulastic assignment that was on the roadmap. Okay, again, using emojis, using different things that you can to help your students see the difference in topics can really help. Here's another video. Here's the next part. So students have everything kind of in line, and I just had to reorder it for my students to quickly understand. Okay, that was a lot. How are we feeling in the chat?
Yep.
It can be a lot, but what's nice is you can stop, you can pause the video, you can go back and rewatch things, you can rewatch the whole video later. So take it in small doses. I know sometimes we can be extra and kind of overwhelming, but we're here to help and show you what we know about roadmaps, so that when you have the chance to make one, you know all these things to make yours great.
Yes. And you can see everything is magically done because I worked with my co-teachers on this. So again, collaboration is key here. So you can see they hyperlinked all the videos that I needed. They also went ahead and added my checklist. So here is my checklist that I'm going to be checking the students' emails with. This is kind of my rubric that I'm going to use with my students. I'm going to say, okay, does your email include a clear subject? Is it polite? Does it have a full name in the closing? Did you avoid all capital letters so you're not yelling at me? All lowercase letters where you were able to use both. And then sarcasm. There's some kids that are very sarcastic. I don't know if an email should have it. And so respect is another one. And so taking the responsibility and avoiding blaming the teacher. Did they do that? I've seen emails where kids are blaming the teacher. So really thinking about that and teaching your kids how to respond. And then mechanics. Okay, so there is kind of a rubric here for you as well, but also this checklist to help students, and then always proofreading. And then they're ready to send that email. And this is where they're going to send it to you, and you can just check it from your email. So again, everything's laid out here. And then the next step is accessibility, which I believe Ashley's going to talk about.
No.
Yes.
So as you are creating your roadmap, think about all of your students and what their needs are. Do you need paper copies? The visuals, are they clear? Because I know I have sometimes linked things and the kid's like, I can't read this. I'm like, oh, that's really bad. So make sure everything that you do, they can see easily. If it's going to be a longer roadmap, do you have breaks built in? Do you have your teacher checks built in? If you're watching videos, my 8th grade students love the closed captioning part of it, so they can watch a video but read screens, and that's kind of what I do when I watch a lot of my TV now, is I'm able to read what's going on. checking to make sure that if you've got students that have some visual issues, dyslexia, whatever, that they can read your fonts, because there are some really cute fonts out there that I love, but it's really hard for students to see. And some that have like the handwriting, and some of our students aren't great at reading cursive. So I would not use anything that has to do with cursive writing because some students can't read that. Also, make sure that before you assign anything, you check to make sure that all the links work, because there's nothing worse than putting it out there. You've worked so hard, and then students start raising their hands. Miss Fernie, I can't. And then you're like panicking, and then you start sweating, and then you're trying to rush around. So triple check that everything works before you assign anything.
Yeah. Another thing with accessibility that I would just want to talk real quick. Right here, our kids can move these little boxes around. Okay, they can move them. But remember that master slide that we talked about, the edit the theme? I can copy all of this with that trick that we kind of taught you earlier. Control C, delete it. Uh-oh, it's gone. But if I go to the slide edit theme, I can paste it in here. And now my kids can't move the boxes around. However, the links do not work, okay? So if that's the case, what I need to do is I can paste them here, just like over top of each other. And I wanna just align it perfectly, and I don't think I'm gonna get it live. There we go. And if my kids move the box, it's not a big deal because they can move it back. They know it's like a puzzle. They know where it goes. Or I could just kind of make these transparent, and then the words are just on top of each other, okay? And then the links work.
I didn't think about that.
So that works as well, okay? So again, you can kind of leave it as that or make it transparent. And again, if you highlight all this and I go here and I make it transparent, it's going to do it all for you a lot faster than you individually going into each of those, okay? So again, that transparency is your friend. Trying to think anything else with accessibility. I think that was it. Timers really do help, okay? So adding a timer or telling kids, hey, I put a little icon with a timer on there and I said, hey, spend 5 minutes on this. They set a timer on their own, and then I just kind of teach as I'm going, okay? So that could be another option as well. All right, icons in tracking. So right here.
Like I can talk about it. If you want.
I forgot it was me. So right here.
Needs a break.
So right here with tracking, we have our Jeep. So our Jeep is tracking us along the way, if you guys have noticed. And what's nice about that is students know exactly where they pick up. A roadmap should probably take anywhere from 3 to a week long. They probably will not finish it in a day. I mean, you can make a roadmap just by having it in a day if you make it shorter. But most of them probably take a week. And that's kind of really nice because then you have a lot of free time at nights. Your planning's done. And so students use this tracker to help them know where they're at. Also with this tracker, I just go in here and you can see we've got the Jeep already. This is from Giphy. So this extension right here, Giphy, you can add your extension, whatever you want to use, right into your slide and you're ready to go. So nice piece there. You can add game pieces. So you just search game pieces and you can add those on. You can also use Pear Deck. So if you use Pear Deck, you can add it onto your slide. And you can have your students every day at the end of class, hey, just let me know where you're at. And using those game pieces, they can tell you real quickly where they're at. And you can kind of look at that data at the end of that class and say, okay, this is where I need to start. Or, okay, I'm going to do a quick mini lesson on this because some students are struggling with that, or I need to pull these groups. So you can use Pear Deck to help you with that. And if you need more details on Pear Deck, let me know. I'm more than happy to help you set that up.
And then just kind of quickly, and if you've got questions on the rest of these slides, thinking about how the procedures work in your classroom, what happens if students finish the roadmap early? What can they be working on? Do you have a procedure if they need to use the restroom, those check-ins? If you're absent, what do you need to do? With my students, I email them if they're absent, what we're working on. If they're working on a roadmap, hopefully they know to continue on. Looking around to see if they need like a little SEL break to check in to see how they're doing. If you've got a sub, just make sure you think about anything that goes along with your procedures in your own classroom.
And then the last thing is thinking about how you want to assign it or share it. You could put it on Google Classroom. You could put it on Seesaw. You could share it with your colleagues to collaborate with them or get some feedback. But think about how you share it. Make sure all the links work before you share it. But this is the final step of your roadmap, which is awesome. You just did all that hard work. So it's exciting to be able to then share it with your students.
Yeah, and then the last thing is just being extra. So if you are ready for this, again, these are all extra. You might not be ready for this until your next roadmap. You want to keep your first one pretty basic for the students. But then when you are ready, you might want to be extra or be salty, and you can do some of these things. So taking away scaffolds. Maybe you want to create a to-do list for students that finished earlier. So on our blank roadmap, we're going to add a can-do list so you can just kind of see what that might look like real quick. And then learning log, you might add a this or that. And if you need help with any of these extra activities, let me know. I'm more than happy to come in and co-work with you, co-plan, co-teach any of these activities that you might need for the roadmap in the next steps. But thank you so much for coming today. We hope you have enjoyed it. We know we've enjoyed sharing this knowledge with you. And we just hope that you try it. Take an adventure, stretch your brain, and try some of these activities. And if you need help or want feedback on it, email us. We are happy to help you however we can.
Yes, thank you for creating, and
Thanks,
good luck on
everybody.
your first roadmap.
Yep. Thanks. Have a great day.